Hello, I'm Dr. Angie Stamm. I'm a holistic veterinarian, and this is Kaela McGuire.
Hello.
Social media director and pet parent. And we are here introducing our new podcast, Integrative Connections, where we intend to create community and provide resources for health for both pets and people.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys for joining us. And thank you, Dr. Angie, for sharing this experience with me.
Super excited to go on this journey with you.
Yeah. And I'm excited for all the people that we're going to meet on this journey as well, because not only will it be us, but we'll also be learning from other practitioners. And
absolutely. Yeah, my vision is to actually expand internationally and try to meet with other healers and practitioners, both on the human and the pet side, so that we can maybe learn from each other and expand on our access to integrative health.
Yes, 100%. How long have you been on the path of integrative health?
I've been a practicing veterinarian for almost 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and primarily with dogs and cats, but some horses and other species. And I was kind of interested in holistic health from an early age with my own health challenges as a teenager with chronic headaches. And I discovered that chiropractic was a solution for me, and realized early on in my life that Western medicine didn't have all the answers, and we needed to kind of expand and look outside the box a little bit more. So I was excited when I was in vet school to start to learn all the different modalities that were out there in the integrative space, and just started learning as much as I could, little by little.
So backtrack a little bit. Chiropractic helped your headaches?
Yeah.
And how was that?
I had an injury. I fell off my horse and got a pretty bad whiplash injury, and didn't really, think about why that was until later on when Western medicine didn't really have a lot of answers for me. We did MRIs and couldn't figure it out. So I started seeking out bodywork, chiropractic, and it fixed my headaches. And so kind of been on that path ever since. Yeah.
And you've just always loved animals, so you were like, this could work for them too.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was kind of actually going down into the path of going into human medicine, but I chose veterinary medicine kind of specifically because I felt that it would give me a little bit more freedom to explore some of these other alternative modalities and less regulations.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I'm glad that I made that choice.
Are integrative veterinary schools pretty common, or did you really have to seek it out?
Yeah, I went to UC Davis for the veterinary school, but the veterinary schools are very traditional, like in the Western paradigm. So all of the integrative modalities, acupuncture, chiropractic, herbal medicine, nutrition, whatever else that you want to add in has to be done separately in its own learning course. And a lot of that learning we've kind of extrapolated from the human side on the animals. So.
And do you still discover modalities that work for humans that you're like, I wonder if this would work for a pet too?
Yeah, I'm always on the lookout, and that's why I'm excited to go down this journey with you on our podcast, to collaborate with some of the human practitioners to kind of see what else we might be able to learn and bring into the veterinary world that's not being done yet.
Absolutely. I know I was really excited when I first brought my dogs to you and learned you have acupuncture for dogs, chiropractic for dogs. I mean, I've heard of laser therapy for pets, but I had no idea how deep the rabbit hole really goes.
Yeah.
And then all the supplements and everything like that. Like, we don't have to depend on pharmaceuticals just like for ourselves, but for our pets too.
And it's just like for humans, the foundation is nutrition. Nutrition is really the foundation of healing, and we have a lot of controversy right now in the pet world as to what's the best diet for the pets, and how to reduce inflammation with food, and that's really the basis of everything. We can give them all the best supplements and all the best body work that we want, but if they're on inflammatory diets, then it's not going to work as well.
Absolutely. And I can speak to that myself. I had a dog. I rescued her at 7 months old, as you know, Shakti. And 2 different veterinarians told me, just put her down. Nothing's really going to help her. And diet really did help her and gave her 9.5 years of life. So I am a strong advocate for pets' health, the foundation of pets' health being diet.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. And really a lot of it tracks right along with what we're learning about human health and mitochondrial dysfunction, metabolic disease, insulin resistance because of the highly processed, inflammatory, and excessive carbs that we're feeding the animals via the dry kibble for dogs and cats anyway. And so it really tracks right along with the same challenges that we're having in the human world with the ultra processed foods and the high sugar in the diets, causing insulin sensitivity or reducing insulin sensitivity, then causing metabolic disease and chronic inflammation, and then all these other hosts of diseases coming from that. So it's pretty much the same thing that we're challenged with on the human side.
Yeah, and I think a lot of vets are starting to understand that, but we still have a lot of influence from big pharma on the nutrition side in the vet schools. So we have to kind of try to get past that.
And I can imagine a lot of pet parents who seek holistic modalities for themselves who aren't quite aware that these also exist for their pets, which they consider their children as well, would be pretty excited to learn about this. So
Absolutely.
I'm excited to introduce these concepts to everybody.
Absolutely.
Have you always been on this journey? Like, were you raised in a family that inspired like holistic ways of living?
Absolutely not.
No.
I was actually, my stepfather, who was adopted me when I was a young age, is a Western OBGYN doctor, physician, and he's very, kind of very traditional Western medicine. And my mom is a type 1 diabetic, so insulin dependent, and I think, we did the best that they knew of at the time in terms of health and diet and nutrition, but we pretty much relied on Western medicine for illness treatments and preventative care. So it's something that I kind of was always drawn to, but I didn't quite know how to find the answers until I really got further along in my education and started to see more avenues into that world once I got into vet school.
It's interesting that your body allowed you to open those doors subconsciously.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to go through injuries for us to really explore different modalities, because we're not going to take that initiative on our own, because you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Right.
And that's probably the case with your parents. Are they more open now that you're on this path? Yeah.
Yeah, they are, absolutely.
And do they have pets?
They do. They have dogs and horses and a cat.
So you're raised with animals. And,
my mom now listens to me. She'll feed, whatever foods I recommend to them and what supplements I give them. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And I imagine that you practice this at your own home with your own pets. What are some things that you incorporate into your daily life that you would recommend, just like to a friend, not necessarily a patient?
For me personally, or for my pets?
Both.
Or both.
Yeah.
I think kind of going back to the basics, good water quality, real sunlight exposure, and anti-inflammatory diet, clean food, clean water, clean air, and good sunlight. Those are really the basics, and those are sometimes hard to get in this world.
I'll never forget the time that you said, if you're not drinking tap water, your pets shouldn't be either.
That's right.
A lot of people go through a lot of trouble to buy a lot of water and filter water for themselves, but don't think about what they're giving their pets. So
it makes a big difference.
What about supplements? Do you have any supplements that you take as well as your pets?
Yeah, definitely I try to use as many whole food sources as I can. So I incorporate a lot of fresh eggs, whole sardines, liver, organ meat, that sort of thing for my pets. I don't really like eating sardines and liver, but I do take grass-fed liver powders.
Okay.
On occasion, try to get my organ meat in that way.
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about the theory. The name escapes me, but you've told me, like, if you have a certain ailment with a certain organ, that you should supplement with that same organ.
Yeah, that goes back to the ancient Chinese food therapy wisdom. It's called glandular therapy, and it basically just feeding whatever organ is diseased or challenged in the body, you can actually feed that same organ, and it, in theory, has all the cofactors and health benefits to support that organ. So if you have liver issues, you can feed liver. If you have heart issues, you can feed heart, etc.
And that goes for both people and pets.
Yes.
Oh, very cool. And take us down the journey of becoming a vet. I mean, I'm sure you didn't start having your own established brick and mortar, so.
So I rode horses growing up, and in vet school, I decided I wanted to work on horses primarily. So I actually started out as a veterinarian. As my first 5 years were primarily working with horses.
Okay.
And that was in a more of a rural setting. I worked for a practice, a small practice in Northern California foothills. And it was really great. It was, I really enjoyed it. A lot of driving, a lot of catching animals and wrestling animals and
Getting kicked and things like that. So ultimately I decided because I wanted to really learn the integrative side that I could have more opportunities to learn if I switched over to just doing dogs and cats and staying in one location. So
after 5 years of doing the mixed animal / equine practice, I transitioned to just working with small animals. Started taking my acupuncture and herbal training, and then went and worked for a traditional Chinese medicine veterinarian, Sunny Bibi, in Sacramento, who kind of mentored me for a few years and got me up to speed with the acupuncture, herbology type modalities.
Okay.
And she also trained me in prolotherapy and intravenous vitamin C therapy.
What is prolotherapy?
Prolotherapy is an injection technique that stimulates an inflammatory response in the body that helps to tighten ligaments that are overly stretched out. So it gives extra support to joints that are unstable.
Oh, okay. So instead of surgery, you could start there.
Correct.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the earlier regenerative medicine techniques. It was developed in the 1950s, and it's not widely talked about, but it is done for both people and pets. And it's kind of the precursor to what's now stem cell and PRP, but it's a lot less expensive, so it's more accessible for a lot of pet parents.
So anyway, after I worked for Dr. Bibi, I kind of went out on my own. I had 3 kids at the time, and I wanted a little more schedule flexibility, so I started a mobile practice. I did mobile practice for a couple of years, and then I opened up my own practice in 2010.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah.
What's the most common case that pets come in with?
In our practice, we see a lot of back pain and mobility challenges, arthritis, and intervertebral disc problems. And I find that they're very manageable with proper nutrition, supplements, and body work, chiropractic, acupuncture, laser, prolotherapy, all these sorts of modalities. So it's really fun to have a lot more tools in our toolbox than what the traditional veterinarians can offer.
Because they would probably just go straight to surgery.
Surgery or pain medicine or euthanasia if they're really bad.
Yeah, there's the through line with people as well.
Yep, absolutely.
We're not just going to put a person down because they have a backache. Sorry, bad joke, but for real.
Totally. And we treat a lot of cancer. As humans have a lot of cancer nowadays too, and unfortunately, it's the way the world is right now. So we've offer a lot of different cancer support modalities as well. Ozone therapy, high dose intravenous vitamin C, hyperthermia, nutrition, herbs. So it's really, really nice to give pet owners those options.
I've been hearing about hyperthermia for humans in more European countries. And what is that when you really heat up the body? Yeah. And that's probably why infrared saunas are becoming so popular.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just a form of detox.
Yep.
Or...
Hyperthermia is just delivering heat stress to the body tissues, and it releases a protein that stimulates the body to go in and repair the area. So it, you can do saunas, you can do targeted hyperthermia. I think in the human world, they actually have like needles that can go right into a tumor and heat it.
Wow.
In the veterinary world, we have a machine called SaunaWave, which is like almost feels like a little heating pad that heats. You can heat up specific areas of the body to improve blood flow and tissue healing. So it's a very non-toxic, safe therapy that's a lot of times overlooked.
Yeah. And this might be a little controversial, but I've been hearing a lot about the root of disease in people, I imagine with pets too, are parasites. Can you talk a little bit about your experience there?
I think that we all have parasites, including the dogs and the cats, and there are some that are more difficult to test for and prove the presence of, but certainly our microbiome is this mixture of bacteria and parasites and yeast and other organisms, and it's just a matter of not allowing those to get out of balance. And so it's okay probably to have some level of parasites. That's impossible to have a completely sterile body, just like but certainly whatever happens in the body to allow those parasites to overgrow or stick around, or if you're not doing regular detox and parasite protocols, that can certainly put just another layer of stress on the body to not be able to do the things that it wants to do in terms of
And that can really affect your mind too, because the gut brain connection.
I believe so. Yeah, I do believe that.
Having a microbiome that's imbalanced, whether it be from pathogenic species of bacteria, other parasites, candida if you're human, can certainly affect the neurology and cause more anxiety issues, depression issues, confusion, dementia, even if it's really advanced.
I mean, you hear about people who go through parasite cleanses and they feel so much better and more euphoric, and kind of validates that.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of memes about if you sleep with your dog that you might be more likely to have parasites. How true is that?
I don't get too hung up on that personally because I do sleep with my dogs.
I do too.
So
unapologetic.
And it's not something that I've seen like in my clinical practice in 25 years that I've seen as a real big concern. There certainly are some zoonotic diseases that we can share with pets, but generally it's not a high risk situation.
Okay. That's comforting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop, so. So, as a mom, naturally you're going to bring a holistic environment to the home. How did you raise your children differently than perhaps you were raised, or more traditional style of parenting?
I actually have 3 kids. Only one left at home now, but I was always very health conscious in terms of their nutrition and not overusing antibiotics, trying to use natural therapies to treat them. And I think that they've kind of taken on a lot of those nuances in their own life now. A lot of them, they're all very health conscious and try to, don't eat junk food, we don't drink soda, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That's really cool. You set their foundation right, so they don't have to unlearn anything.
My youngest is still not perfect, but I think as they get older, they get more aware. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, because you start to experience the result of not treating your body the best.
Exactly. You can get away with it when you're younger, but
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And do they ride horses?
So my daughters do still ride. And my son is into guitar and photography and motorcycles.
All the boy things. Love that.
Video games, of course.
Yeah. I love that. And where can you be found on your day off?
I will be either riding my horse or cooking or going for walks with my dogs, hanging out with my dogs. That's it. Spending time with family.
Yeah. Right on. And what are your career goals from, you're pretty established. Are you reaching for anything further?
I really do enjoy clinical practice because I love seeing the improvements that we can make in pets' lives with our holistic modalities.
Oh, yeah.
It's super fun.
I I'm doing this podcast with you because I feel like there's always more learning to do, and we need other humans to, we need to make connections with other humans in order to grow. So I really want to reach out to the holistic integrative community internationally to kind of see, what we can offer each other from different perspectives.
Yeah. I definitely believe that we're entering an era where we can learn from each other rather than just all follow the same blanket narrative.
Right.
Because, the age of Aquarius is all about kind of unlearning like what the establishment has taught us so that we can learn more natural ways. Back to Eden, our bodies know how to heal themselves. And so I'm always interested in learning the next new thing or the next ancient thing that's new to me.
Right. Or from a different perspective, from somebody else's perspective, right?
So that's kind of what excites me is, how can we continue to be on the cutting edge of health for people and animals and continually learn and grow our knowledge and spread that knowledge through community, support each other through community, and because it's always going to be an ongoing journey. It's always going to be evolving, and to be able to have to react to the environmental conditions that we're in puts a different spin on it than where we were 30 years ago in medicine. Now we have to look at toxins, EMFs, food supply issues, all these things that were not a challenge to our bodies 30 years ago. So that puts another spin on how we practice medicine preventatively and therapeutically.
That brings up a couple things for me, like the soil. Was glyphosate a huge issue 30 years ago the way that it is now?
Not as much.
Not aware?
Not as much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the rates have skyrocketed in the last 20, 30 years for sure.
Yeah. And all the processed food, my parents didn't have that. I'm sure your parents didn't have as many options when they were growing up.
Right.
And the ingredients list was probably a little bit shorter, and you could probably pronounce more of the ingredients than you can now.
Right.
On the box.
Right.
And then the water supply, I'm sure we have a lot more in our water.
Air pollution,
chemtrails.
Yep.
And even, what people fed pets 40 years ago. 40 years ago, pet dogs evolved to, coexist with humans and basically eat what humans are eating. Meat, vegetables, whatever foods that we had, is how they evolved. Cats are carnivores, so they pretty much need to eat carcasses.
Yeah.
But dogs are carnivores, omnivores, so they actually can kind of eat a variety of foods. And so before commercial kibble came out, that's kind of how dogs evolved, along with co-evolved with people. And now there's a shift for the people who are more aware of their animal's health, going back to that more natural ancestral diet.
And then people are starting to see the health benefits and reduction in chronic diseases in their animals. So it's a really exciting time to be a veterinarian for those who are open to want this knowledge.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, name names, but there is a commercial kibble that I would never in a million years feed my animals now. But back in, I want to say it was like the 70s, they had a cookbook with the ingredients list of their dog food, and I believe it was kibble. Anyway, where I'm getting at is a vet had a photocopy. He had that cookbook and he photocopied one of the recipes. And this is a very mainstream, like they would never have a Whole Foods ingredients list today. But he gave me that recipe and that was what started to heal my dog.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, wow. It was just pretty amazing to me to see that decades ago they were health conscious. And then since all of the additives have come to play over the last couple decades, they would never, it's just cheaper, I would imagine. The profit margin is so much greater now that they can sell the more processed kibble.
Right, and you've got subsidies on some of the big, the big crops, the big ag crops, right?
Right.
The wheat, the corn, the soy. So a lot of those go into the pet foods because they're so inexpensive,
right,
and readily available.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's kind of the the biggest challenge that we see right now with pet health.
I still have that piece of paper. I remember him saying, like, this is gold. You cannot find this anywhere. Probably not even on the internet anymore.
So you and I have teamed up on this project together, which is pretty exciting, to kind of go forth and create more stronger community in the integrative health space. And can you talk about why that's a big passion for you?
I have always been health conscious, but it's just kind of been back to the you don't know what you know until you know it type of thing. And growing up, I was more involved with mental health. Like, I was in therapy due to some trauma at an early age, and then I went to school for psychology because I just wanted to learn like why humans operate in a certain way. And I went to a holistic college. So Sonoma State has its humanistic psychology program. So I learned about meditation and art therapy and dreams and the subconscious mind and a lot of Jungian therapy. And it just really gave me an awareness to the mind-body connection. Our bodies will get sick if our mind isn't healthy, and vice versa. The healthier our mind becomes, our bodies will respond. And so after college, I started seeing a naturopath who we will be interviewing on this podcast. And she had all kinds of modalities that I had never heard of, with, you know, anywhere from acupuncture to red light therapy to, she introduced me to infrared sauna, just the entire gamut. And I was just all about it. And at the same time, I had cystic acne and nothing would cure it. No medicine. I mean, I spent thousands of dollars with the doctors and the medications and everything. Nothing would cure it. And then she gave me a proper diet and my skin totally cleared up.
Nice.
And it just really gave me that foundational awareness of how important it is to take care of our body, mind, and spirit, you know, and how connected they all are. And so I opened up a local spiritual practice, and I had a little spiritual center, and we had workshops, and we had guest teachers, and I taught some workshops. I learned about the chakra system, and I taught meditation classes, got certified in spiritual life coach and different hypnotherapy modalities and things like that. And I just always have been eager to learn from everybody as much as I can, because I feel that we each have a gift. And I've always said, as we teach and learn from each other, together we rise. And I believe that that is the basis of the age of Aquarius, which we are entering into. And I also learned a lot about astrology, became an apprentice in 2015. And so I just see life through the lens of consciousness, and astrology being our collective and individual blueprints of how to make the most of evolving through this life. And I believe that as humans, we are here to learn and grow, you know, in any challenging time. If I can ask myself, what am I learning? How am I growing? Then I can get to the next stage, you know? So after the spiritual center, I started an online group. I've always been really into community, like we're growing here. And I started an online group, and I, again, held digital workshops and seminars and things like that. And I was just pulling in guest speakers wherever I could. I figured if I want to learn from them, then I'm sure other people do. And it's just been really cool how much my world has expanded through just learning from other people. And so I had a friend who told me about your practice, so I immediately took my dogs there, and I never have turned back. And I just feel that once people learn that this exists, they can't turn back, you know, because it's a quantum field that is never ending, and anything is possible.
Well, one of the reasons that I think it's important to be species inclusive, right? To look at things from a human perspective and look at things from a veterinary or pet perspective, is that we really discount that. A lot of people, I think, discount that importance of that bond, that energetic connection between people and their pets. There really is, I find, this deepening of the relationship, this sort of humanization of the animals that we're going through in our culture. And what I see is very, among my clientele, is super strong emotional, spiritual connection between a lot of people and their animals, even as far as them sharing the same health challenges sometimes because of quantum resonance, right? So I'm kind of really interested in looking at the intersection of human and pet health on a holistic scale to kind of see what we can learn and get out of that as well.
And you've also talked about before the connection, how pets can respond to our ailments and vice versa. There's like some kind of invisible thread. And I believe it is very mind, body, spirit, the connection between us and our pets. And they are my children. I know a lot of other people can agree that when you lose a pet, it's like losing a family member, and they bring so much to our lives. And
they really are healers. I mean, they really
100%.
do. They really do like give a lot of emotional and even, you could argue, physical, healing in certain circumstances. So I think that the human animal connection is only going to grow as we grow and evolve as a species, that we're going to be even more, place more and more importance on our relationships with our animals.
100%. And it's interesting, I'm sure you see it more often than not, that people will put their pets first. Like if something's wrong with their pet, they will pay for that, versus if something's wrong with them, they're too busy.
Absolutely.
Do you see that a lot?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so it's really inspiring to be able to work in an integrative practice where you see these types of people that are willing to go that extra mile for their animals and bring them in for their acupuncture and spend more money on a better diet for them, and who really care. And that's a really inspiring place to witness.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people's pets even eat better than they do.
Yes. I have clients tell me this a lot. I cook better for my dog than I do for me. I don't cook for myself, but I cook for my dog.
I think I fall into that category more often than not. And we just want them to live. I always say to my dog, you're just the happiest, healthiest pup. You're going to have a long life. I just feel like affirmations and mantras, like whatever, just energy that I could put towards that.
Yeah.
But I think it's good. I mean, it's good. It's a good passion project for people to have this amazing animal relationship that they can nurture and care for, and that in and of itself is healing. That action in itself is healing for the people.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it opens the heart chakra, and if we can have more love in this world, I am not mad at that.
Totally.
Animals will definitely bring that to us and pull that from us. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
The difference between this journey and my previous digital community is that was more spiritually focused. So, astrology, star seeds, like all of that. And I'm just really loving the groundedness of this journey with you and bringing in the pets and the plants and the medicine and all of that. And I'm just really excited to learn from you. And I've already learned so much from you, but just to learn more. And I'm excited to see what you learn from other people and, what lights you up.
I'm excited too. I think it's going to be fun.
And who are you hoping to bring forth on the podcast?
So I'm particularly interested in a couple areas that modalities that we do offer currently in our clinic that I'd like to maybe see about further refining. One of them is our cancer therapies through ozone, hyperthermia, vitamin C, nutrition. There's a doctor in Tijuana, Mexico, Dr. Anthony Rivera, who uses a lot of the same modalities in his cancer clinic for people. Oh, wow. So I would love to, reach out to him and try to learn from him as much as possible.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. There's also another prolotherapy doctor on the human side, Ron Hauser, out in Florida, who is one of the original prolotherapy doctors for people, and he's written a book, and I would love to learn from him.
That's cool. I'm excited too.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to learn from herbalists and get to know what we can, like, buying a tincture, what can I give to myself and my dog? Like, what my medicine cabinet can I share? Can I have a shelf of, like, this is for both of us?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't have that yet, and I know that that's possible, so.
Yeah. And I think, like we talked about, even coming out with our own supplement line
Mm-hmm.
so that we can share simple foundational supplements that could be for multiple species would be really fun.
And different products, too, like the PEMF mats.
Yep. Medical devices that could be used for cross species.
And red light therapy
Yep.
and lasers and
Yep.
learning about
EMF blockers, water filtration units, things like that.
and acupressure.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be open to teaching some of that
Yeah.
sometime?
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I believe that astrology applies to animals as well.
Do you?
For sure. Like, especially the sun sign, because it's hard to know the exact time of birth, which is what you need for a human chart. But when I look back to all of my pets and when they were born, I can definitely identify how they function in the world and their little behaviors. And
Interesting.
yeah.
So it gives you some kind of clues into why they are who they are.
Darshan and I share a birthday.
Oh,
That's shocking.
that's cool.
We're a lot alike.
That's cool.
Yeah. We have a lot of fun things to bring, so thank you for joining us, and I'm very excited to see you on the next episode.
Thanks.